What is going on, guys? Your boy Joey Shake 72 coming to you guys with a video right now. So I want to go over the Eagles linebackers from the first preseason game and what we really seen. But before we get into all that, Jonathan Gannon gets some praise here just because, you know what? He didn't blitz any linebackers in this game. We were wondering why, and he said on press conference that he didn't want to blitz any of these guys just because they want to see what these guys could do on their own. So obviously that's a really good thing. You always want to see what these guys can do on their own. You don't want people to get help from blitzes, and he just wanted to see a base defense and see what these guys could do without blitzing, doing some, obviously the Steelers were blitzing us like crazy in the beginning of the game. But it was nice to see Jonathan Gannon kind of switching things up and doing things a little differently. But to talk about this linebacker group, who would have known that this linebacker group was going to be this productive? See, I get so surprised. I was surprised by some of the receivers. I was surprised by the running backs. I was surprised by the draft picks. We're not used to seeing guys that aren't used, whether they're rookies, whether they're second-year players, or whether they're guys that have been on this roster and haven't been used enough. And obviously, from Jim Schwartz running this defense, maybe he knew how to use the defensive line, but didn't know how to use cornerbacks, didn't know how to use linebackers, picket fence defense, always afraid, always cautious, not really scheming too much. But with this defense with Jonathan Gannon, with Nick Reynolds as the linebacker coach, wow, did we see some production from these linebackers. So we didn't blitz, but what did they do? When the play was going to the other side, if the team was running, if the Steelers were doing a halfback toss to the left, Alex Singleton was lined up on the opposite side. He made a tackle on the opposite side of the field. These linebackers running east to west, west to east, sideline to sideline, these linebackers are getting really productive. And just from this first game, I did see a lot. And the top players I've seen were from Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards, and Sean Bradley. Okay, Eric Wilson could have had a tackle for a loss, ended up missing a tackle in the backfield, which it's all right. It is what it is. But I think he has a nice balance of coverage skills, and he's very physical. Seen him very physical out there. Alex Singleton is just a tackling machine. Okay, tackling machine, could get from sideline to sideline. He's just all over the field. Sean Bradley, 5 tackles in the second half when he got his chances in there, did a really good job. Really good, guys. I mean, I was very impressed. I think the most I was impressed with was TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards, and I think we've talked about him in the past and how much of a flash in the pan he was, undrafted and just hungry. TJ Edwards did a fantastic job. He was all over the field. And on top of everything else, he made a couple of tackles on special teams. So he's producing on special teams, and he's producing as a linebacker. So that's fantastic. So was I expecting this many linebackers to really show up? No, but it's really shown me that this coaching staff, we're seeing production, we're seeing development from this coaching staff, and we're seeing 4-3, 3-4. We're seeing different fronts as well. So if you feel very comfortable with, if you need to have more guys in coverage with these linebackers to watch the middle of the field, you can do that, okay? When you put these guys in a 3-4, now you have 4 linebackers. Now you have 4 guys middle of the field that can really cover a good amount of what you have. See, with the Colts, with Jonathan Gannon, those linebackers, 11 guys to the football. I mean, those guys were moving. I mean, totally moving. Did a fantastic job. And I could see it here right now with these linebackers. I'm seeing production. It's so surprising. I mean, really, we're not used to seeing this much production from players. Like, usually we have preseason games. They're either good or they're very ugly, or you're not seeing much, but we win the game. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care about the win or the loss. I think from this loss, we actually saw a lot of good things. I mean, we're not scheming against another team. We're just running our plays, and that's it. We're just giving looks. And that's all it really is at the end of the day. But this linebacker core, I'm excited for. I'm pumped about. These guys are able to run sideline to sideline, making tackles. I mean, from the opposite side of the field, guys. TJ Edwards was making tackles from the opposite side, ran all the way to the other side of the field just to make the tackle. Alex Singleton, we found him as a gem last year that really rose up to the top. Every time the Eagles have a bad season, I feel like we always find those gems like Travis Fulgham and gems like Alex Singleton last year, and obviously Quez Watkins that showed very little and just didn't do enough because we had veteran favoritism. We never gave these guys a chance. So obviously Eric Wilson's on the 1-year deal this year, and we see what he could do. He was a coverage guy coming in, was with the Falcons with injuries to the linebacker core. He's always been a backup linebacker. Okay, never really got his chance till last year. They didn't want to pay him, so obviously the Eagles picked him up. I think one of the most underrated linebackers we did pick up, TJ Edwards. Just none of these guys have been used over the past few years. Very, very little, and that's because we've been keeping Nathan Gary in games. We've been keeping guys in games that haven't been productive, but this coaching staff is really starting to turn my head a little bit because now we're seeing, like I said earlier, draft picks are producing. Second-year players are producing. Just players that we haven't used the past few years that we know that could play are being used, and they're being efficient on the field. That's how exciting this is. So, really, I didn't expect this much production. Maybe a linebacker's going to make a couple of tackles, but you saw it from 4 guys already. You know, Patrick Johnson had a very up and down day. It wasn't a solid day. It was more of a bad day than a good day. You know, so obviously there is projects on this team, linebacker-wise, with Patrick Johnson. Most likely he goes to practice squad. But when it comes to it, guys, like, you got, you know, I didn't see much of Jannard Avery. I don't know if he was hurt. You know, there was the linebacker Smith didn't play well whatsoever, couldn't tackle. You know, his eyes weren't really that good in the backfield looking for the running back when he was playing middle linebacker. So, I mean, I think you have some really good gems. I think you have some really good production here with this linebacker core. I know it's only been one preseason game, but you saw it immediately. I mean, you saw it throughout the game a lot from these 4 players. So, got to say, pretty happy about it. Very happy about it. I was surprised over it. And you know what? 2021 season for me is really finding your building block pieces to your team and then getting rid of your dead weight, making trades, and getting more draft compensation, freeing up cap space. And I think you know this is a youth movement in Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's the most exciting it's the most excitement I've ever been in a while in preseason, especially because we didn't have any offseason last year. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. What linebacker stood out to you? What group of guys stood out to you? What do you guys think about this linebacker core going into this year? Do you think Nick Reynolds is doing a good job with the linebackers? Do you think Jonathan Gannon knows what he's doing with his multiple fronts? Which I love the multiple fronts and moving guys around. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think this defense is going to be very underrated this year, and I hope it is. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys later. Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.